Hello folks, welcome to another chess time with FOKS, and today we'll be taking a step forward in our chess game as we continue learning from where we stopped in the last video, and I believe that you've been having fun. Yes, so let us get right into it. Hello once again. So like I said, in today's video we'll be looking at the rook. Remember, in the last video we've seen how the bishop moves, we've seen the knight, or of course how they capture. In a simple way, we said that in playing with the knight, you count 2 steps forward, then you turn, and you can turn to either the right or the left. And remember that whenever you are moving with the knight, it means that you can capture any piece standing on the square is moving to. Now, what do I mean? Let us assume that a particular piece from the other side is here, and the knight, now this is just me painting a picture. I'm not saying that it will always be like this. It is just for demo. So now imagine a piece is here. The fact that this guy wants to leave this position means once you count 1, 2 and you turn, it means that you occupy the space and you capture this space. That is exactly how the knight captures. And the same thing goes for the bishop. It means that if, let us assume a piece is here, any piece at all, I'm just choosing the pawn for demo. Like I said, it could be the rook, it could be the knight, in fact it could be another bishop. Let us assume a bishop is here from the other side and this guy moves to this side. It means he can capture the bishop on this end. That is exactly how it is. So in today's lesson we'll be looking at the rook. Now we've looked at all our pieces. We've seen the pawns, we've seen the knight, the bishop, and of course from the other side. But the rook on this hand, remember we said in the first video, if I could remember, that each of these pieces has a particular point assigned to them. The pawn has 1 point, the knight and the bishop 3 points each, and then we said the rook has 5 points, which means that after the knight and the bishop, the rook is the strongest, right? And in a simple way, because I would like to make this as brief as possible, because the rook doesn't have any, should I say, issue. Now the rook is a bit disciplined. What do I mean by discipline? The rook follows a straight line forward, a straight line backward, a straight line to the side, both sideways, right? What that means is this guy here, of course, again, this is a demo, not that the the rook can jump from this side to this side. I'm just trying to show you. Let us say peradventure the rook is here. It means that he can go any length sideways to the right, any length to the left, and can maintain the same line where he's standing on. That means that the rook has the power to go any length forward, any length backward, any length to the right, and any length to the side. No corners, no diagonal moves, no branching of any sort. That means that being here, it means any piece along its lane can be captured. And of course, remember, we would delve into all of this later. When you are playing with a particular piece, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to capture by fire by force. You could want to play and just move a step forward, depending on the strategy, depending on the technique you have to use. It doesn't mean that every piece has to be captured. For example, because we've established the fact that the rook can move any length forward, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to capture this, right? It doesn't have to be. You could just play from this side, you could just play here, depending on what you intend. It only means that the rook has the capacity to go any length forward, any length backward, any length to the side and to the left. Now let me paint a picture. Let us say this is here. Let's say the knight moves to this side because of its position, and let's say this bishop is here because it moves here, right? And let's say there is another piece by this side. Now if I could ask you, based on what you just learned, how many pieces on this board from the dark side can the rook capture? Very simple. If you look clearly, how many pieces on this board can the rook capture? From what I explained, it means the rook can capture this, right? And going back to this exact position, it means from this side it can capture this guy, right? And from this side it can equally capture this guy, right? And let us take a bit of detour. Remember how we say the pawn moves, right? We say the pawn moves forward, but the pawn can capture any piece adjacent it. If we say this is the black's turn to play, what do you think the pawn on g7 can do? The pawn can capture this rook like this, and that means the black side has 5 points to themselves. So this is how easy it could be. So now let us go back to the initial starting position, right? Okay, so we have this. Now I want us to play just a little bit to find a way to bring out her rook, right? Now remember, let's say the white side plays the pawn forward and this guy plays like this as well. Then because we've learned how the knight moves, you move like this, 1 2, then you turn like this. And remember, from this side, because of how the knight moves, it can capture this. But as a black side, you need to protect your piece, right? You bring this forward, right? Or you can even, well, let us leave it like this. So now we also want to move our bishop. We move our bishop to this side, or let's say this side, right? And as a black piece, now let me just, there is something I saw just now, but because I've not gotten to that part of the lesson, so I will refrain from it. Let me put the bishop here. So as black piece, let's say you play here, then it is time to move our rook because this side is open. And remember, yes, I said that the knight is the only piece that has the privilege of jumping over the other pieces. That means unless this guy opens up, the rook is stuck. But since this side is opened, it means we can move our rook from here to this side, right? And that means you've moved your rook. Remember, it can go to the side, both sides, and it can go forward. Now let us assume that black has to play, then black plays here, right? It means that either of them is attacking each other. And since it is white's option to play, you capture this piece, right? Then black plays again. I would have captured with the queen, but because I'm yet to get to that side, so let us pause here for today. So this is simple. Remember, the rook has 5 points, right? And the rook can move any length forward, any length backward, any length to the side, and any length to the other side. And that means any piece standing on any of those positions can be captured. So I remain, folks. See you in the next one.